This is a video about me going from quite a cushy government job, quitting that, and then going out on my own into Upwork freelance work. Um, the reason why I did it ultimately, and it's a long story, but I wanted adventure, and I've never been a super conventional person. It has not been without its challenges though, and so I want to share those in case anybody else is in a similar boat, sort of just for moral companionship. But also if you have any thoughts or ideas for me. Um, I'll run through what my current approach is on a practical level in terms of trying to get work on Upwork, which, by the way, so far I've been unsuccessful, and also the emotional challenges and how I've addressed those. So the practical approaches that I'm taking to Upwork. First of all, you get on Upwork and it's hard to kind of know where to start. What I did is I looked at my competitors and I saw all of the different options, the projects, sort of the preset project options that are available. For example, you can go to somebody's profile and buy a thing like, I will build you an app. That's one of the options. And I looked at my competition and I realized that this was going to be very difficult. Of course, it's incredibly competitive, and there's like something like 24,000 available projects that you can buy from. So how to stand out in that is something I'm still learning. But to stop the overwhelm, the approach that I take, and this is, I guess, business best practice in many instances, is understand what my offering is and go niche, or go niche, as my American friends might say. My particular niche that I'm drilling down into, my value proposition is software development, but also with years of business experience. So combining those two. And I won't go into details of what that looks like, but that's more or less what I'm trying to do. Also being aware of what I am good at. So I did a lot of reflection into my past work and the things that I enjoyed. And I'm trying to just be straight up with myself as to what I enjoy. I'm not trying to carve out a niche in something which I don't have tons of experience in, or that I'm not sure I like or will like doing. I figure starting off with something that I am really happy about doing will motivate me more to keep going, and not be working towards something which I'm not even 100% convinced that I'll want to keep doing. Another approach that I'm taking, and I'm not sure if this is the best approach, but given my lack of reviews on Upwork, and my still being built out portfolio on Upwork, I've decided to, when I do pitch for things, go very cheap. I know that there's some wisdom in not going cheap, but I just want to get some runs on the board. I want to get some jobs. I want to get some 5-star ratings, and I'm keen to get that any way I can. But if anybody has any specific experience with that and starting out fresh in Upwork and what your approach is, please let me know. I would love to learn from somebody more experienced. There is also not just the practical side, there's the emotional side. And I have lived enough life and I've moved overseas and lived in unfamiliar cities enough to have this a little bit more under control. Although, to be fair, if I was doing this, say, 8-9 years ago, I'm sure I would have been a mess. First of all, when you're not in an office or you don't have colleagues that you can regularly call, there is a massive element of loneliness, which can kick in. But I've been okay with getting around that, and that is through making sure that you have a support network. I'm lucky I have a really good group of friends that I can reach out to. I have friends that I can call, and that's something which I've built up over the last few years. It's not something I actually had before, and I think that's quite common for men, to be honest, to not have that. So that is something that I'm very lucky to have, and I've been leaning into that a lot. A couple of my friends, one of them in particular, is also a freelancer and he has a bit more experience than me. and another friend who's also looking for work in a completely different field, not freelance work. But we will do an afternoon or a morning in a cafe together, and I find that that's really helpful. I just feel a lot more motivated while I'm there to get my work done, but also you have that social touch point, so you don't feel so alone. And if that's a regular thing, you can look forward to it, and it can keep you going and just keep your spirits up. Because I think being demoralized is probably one of the worst things that can happen. And not just on demoralization, something which I am lucky to not have to experience is financial panic. I have a pretty good runway because I was working in a pretty good job for several years, and I was able to save up quite a bit of money. I am burning through that money quite quickly. So that's giving me motivation, but it's not making me panic. And I think if you had financial panic, that would be something which you would have to ruthlessly eliminate, probably through cutting costs and doing everything you possibly can, even moving back in with family if you have to, that kind of thing. I can totally imagine that if I don't get something working in the next several months, I may have to do that, and that will be a big kick to the ego. And that's another motivating driving force for me, is to not have to deal with that. Exercise and routine. I am regularly exercising to keep my spirits up. Routine, I'm trying to wake up at the same time every single day and have a relatively clear routine. It's not always working out, but I find that if I don't stick to that routine and I sleep in, it's not like there's that other motivating force. You know, you sleep in, you hit snooze, you panic, you got to get to the office, and you make it to the office, you're there, you're okay, you get the work done. That is not how it works when you're working for yourself at home. You hit the snooze button, you wake up half an hour later, you feel groggy. If you're lucky, half an hour, maybe you sleep in for 2-3 hours, and then you start working, but it's already kind of, the day is in some ways ruined. The motivation is taken out, and for me, I find that it just affects my whole psyche if I don't start the day right. So doing that I found to be incredibly important. Drinking tons of water, eating good food, avoiding sugar, all of these things, their effect on you is amplified because there isn't that support network or that support base of you being in an office with other people and you being forced to work. Nobody's forcing you to work when you're at home alone. And that is a massive challenge that I'm having to navigate. But so far, actually really enjoying. It's really the practical elements of getting work on UpWork that I'm currently struggling with and slowly building towards. So yeah, that's my experience so far of trying to crack into the freelance UpWork world. If you have any thoughts, experience to share, would really appreciate it. Any good resources, anything like that. And just on that, one final thing is overwhelm. There's so many things that you can watch on YouTube, so many resources, so many courses, and I haven't really done any of them. I've been trying to work from first principles, from basic fundamentals of business, and build up, because I don't want to get overwhelmed, because that's also demoralizing. So there's a bit of a theme. Everything that I'm doing is trying to keep my morale up, and I'm just trying to make incremental progress towards getting a profile where I can get some ongoing work. But early days, lots of struggles, as you can see. Yeah, thoughts welcome. Thanks.